Yeah, come in.
May I enter, sir?
May I come in, right? Esther, Ria, Esther, Washington, right?
Yes.
Come. Good, that's nice. Come, please sit down. Comfortable?
Yes, sir.
Do you want me to call you Ria, Esther, or Washi?
Ria's fine, sir.
Ria's fine. That's what your friends call you?
Yes, sir.
Or do your parents call you?
My parents have a lot of other nicknames, but Ria's the most common, sir.
Oh, yeah? How about your friends who are really close to you?
It's always Washington, sir.
Well, it depends on the mood, I think.
They like the name, so they choose Washington, sir.
Yeah. Fine. What we'll do is, yeah, I must appreciate your really lovely hand that you have,
Thank you, sir.
right? Though we profess not to use running, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Isn't that they say so? I mean, in the teaching, because everybody is not gifted like this. Because people like me have got a scroll, and it's better to do uh, capitals, right? This is good. I've gone through your PIQ and made some preliminary notes so that we have an interview. So what we'll do is, Ria, this is your second interview,
Yes, sir.
right? Okay, that's good. What we'll do is go through the session, and after we are done, I will say, okay, it's been nice speaking to you, and you can go. And then after that, you come back
Okay,
where
sir.
you would have actually felt that yes, I've gone now, I've done everything, and then I would have had some scribbling, some notes which I would like to then. That is what I would like you to listen to, because those are the points which I think that you could continue to for the next interview. Have you got your SSB dates?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet.
No, sir.
Right. Okay. So that's how we will go about it. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. You don't seem to. You've been throughout in Bangalore. तो हिंदी तो आती है आपको?
Not much, sir. I'm able to understand a bit, but when I'm around people that speak Hindi, I can pick it up.
Your troops may not understand you,
Yes, sir.
and then
So I'm good at learning the language, so I do feel like when I'm around people, I'm able to pick it up a lot more better, sir.
that seems logical. Right, Ria, I have in front of me a candidate who's from a civil background, from a civil metro background. You know, metro means, and I'm not surprised that you're not so fluent in the language in Hindi because we are in South India. So that is understandable, but we'll treat it likewise, and we will go through a session of an interview, which I would like to start off because you've gone through the interview techniques.
Yes, sir.
We'll start off by your academics, which is quite okay, and I think you are still in college only.
Yes.
But I particularly ask you to please tell me as to why is it that for your 10th you were somewhere else, and then before you came in for your college, you changed your institution. What was the need to do that, right? I also want you to tell me that you're pursuing mechanical engineering. Mechanical engineering that you're looking at is from the point of view of what core aspects are you trying to think in your mind.
Yes, sir.
Understand? That's what I'm looking at. I also want you to please tell me in case placements have already started, and if you've gone through any placement, campus placements, etc., which have come, if there are any which has been initiated, I'd like to know about it, right?
Okay, sir.
Then let's come to area which you like doing. Things like I see a certain amount of games and sports that you indulged into. I see a lot of extracurricular activities that you indulged in also. I also see that you've got a lot of hobbies, a lot of passions. There must be a lot of interests. So tell me about all things that make you happy, right? Things that you like doing. That's why you feel get happy, right? And in that, you can tell me what are the things that make you happy individually. I also want you to touch upon what are the collective activities that you've been indulging in. All right,
Okay,
in
sir.
which your participation as what is what I'd like to do. Don't say I participated in it is not good enough. Your participation, how did it impact?
Okay,
All
sir.
right, okay. Then after that, since the good times are there, there has to be some times which are not bad. But you're not that pigtailed. I don't know if you still have pigtails, but you've grown beyond frocks and pigtails, is what I can say. Times in you have, you would be going through, which are, I don't want to use the word stressful, but I'm looking at things like, issues, irritants at this stage in life, which would be having on a daily issue, it would be having. Whether it's someone who is not that cabbie who was supposed to pay you back some money, didn't. And you know it, he had it, but he didn't give it to me. Irritates you, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So these are the mining use. I'm just giving you an example. To little much more stronger ones, where you will have things like at your age, mental, spiritual, sexual things like, where you don't want to go running to your parents just yet. You're the eldest, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So you'd like to handle it yourself. How do you do it? Is there someone that you confide into, some, I don't know, your friends, or you do it yourself? You just go and scream in the bathroom or something. I don't know, whatever it is. Something I'd like to know. How do you handle yourself on such situations?
Okay, sir.
You heard me. You
Yes, sir.
understood.
Yes, sir.
Let me also tell you, if I were to look for someone who is an inspiration, whom would you recommend that I get get to know more about that person, and probably that person will inspire me. You
Yes, sir.
don't know a sausage about me, you don't know anything about me, right?
Yes,
But
sir.
I've just thrown you tell me someone. Don't say Abdul Kalam. Everybody is this. Be more realistic. Down ground duty, ground reality. What you think, so right?
Yes, sir.
You may be right, you may be wrong, it doesn't really matter. Okay.
Yes.
And lastly, what's your monthly expenditure pattern? I'm not looking at how much money you get. I know your papa mama will be giving it to you, or you go and rob a bank. I couldn't care two oats. What I'm saying is, I just want to. I don't know the amount. I want to know in a month. Month and a half, I expend on such aspects.
Okay,
The
sir.
kind of expense, the pattern of expenditure. All right.
Yes, sir.
So it's quite a package, isn't it, that I've asked you?
Yes, sir.
But you're expecting it?
I was expecting a series of questions, sir. Yes.
Sorry?
I was expecting a series of questions, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's good. So I'll just help you to take you back, and I would like you to start by telling me why is it that class 10 institute and class 12 institute had to be initiated? Why not continue in the same place? All right?
Yes, sir.
And then take it on from there.
Yes, sir. So firstly, in my school, at the time, we had only till 10th grade. So it was more of
Can you
a,
speak a little louder?
yes, sir.
I've got
So,
this sound coming in here.
yes, sir. So when I was in school, we had only up until 10th grade. So it was more of a compulsion for us to change schools, sir. So for that, I had to go to another school. And I chose Clarence High School because it was in the vicinity that I was living in at the time. And also I wanted to pursue ISC, the board of ISC in science as well. Now I'm currently doing my mechanical engineering and I'm hoping to get into the aerospace field of it. I've always really liked aviation and such, which is also why it's drawn me towards the Indian Air Force. And using the advice of my father, he said that mechanical engineering is a broader branch. So if in an inevitable case that the aviation industry has to drop or anything like that, I would be able to have more options available to me. Coming to my other activities, I've been mostly involved in music, but I also do play sports as more of a way to relieve stress, just to have a little bit of exercise and such. Music, it helps me. Music as an individual activity, it helps me sort of let out my creative side of thinking. When it comes to music, I don't just sing and play instruments. I also try to write music and just let my thoughts flow. It's a way of expressing myself, if not to other people, at least to myself, sir. When it comes to sports, I've played a little bit of basketball. That I've been able to play quite a bit in high school, but once I came to 11th and 12th, COVID came around and I didn't go out as much as I used to. And once COVID went away, I was put into college and put into my studies once again. So I didn't really have time to play it as a very serious sport. So I tried to play as a more casual sport then. Same goes for throwball and swimming as well, sir. In high school, when I was in the basketball team, I wasn't the captain, but I was able to learn a lot and also help the team with their training every morning, help them practice and such. So, aside from that, a few activities that also help me de-stress is what is that? Sorry. I like to work out as well, sir. So, although that is something that is part of my usual routine, it is also something that helps me de-stress as well. When it comes to things that I feel stress me out and how I deal with it, I would say at this point of my life, I'm boggled by a lot of uncertainties, whether it comes to my college, my career path, and such. So, staying at this point, or even now with my AFCAT entry, I'm not sure of the dates, and I'm in my final year, so I'm not sure if I'll graduate in time for my SSB and such. So, how I usually deal with that is I try and weigh out all my options. I try and see what's the most rational path to take, and I run it by my parents because they consider me to be quite mature with my decisions. And if I find some irregularities with my priorities, I run it by them just to get another point of view as well. Besides that, I think I missed out the placements part of my college. We have had placements, and I've sat for a few of them. And I've been placed in Collins Aerospace as of now, sir.
I didn't get that.
I've been placed in Collins Aerospace, sir.
College?
Collins Aerospace.
Can you spell it? COLLES?
COLLINS, sir. Raytheon, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
College. Okay. Yeah, understood.
Yes, sir. And so coming to my expenditure, I usually try not to spend too much as um, when it comes to my travel, I have a car and my parents help me with the fuel. And when it comes to my food and such in college, I always take home food. But in the off chance that my parents are busy or I'm not able to prepare my food, then I do spend a little bit at college. Aside from that, I do try to save up a little money, but in case I need stationery or anything relating to college, I do spend a little bit there. Uh, Talking about someone who would inspire you, I would say it would be squadron leader Abni Chaturvedi. For me, she's been an inspiration as she was one of the first female fighter pilots. And at the time that she became a fighter pilot, that was when my ambition for wanting to join the armed forces began. So I think that she would be a good inspiration as she started off from being someone she started off as a flying officer. Now she's a squadron leader, and she was one of the first women to fly in a MiG-21. And now she is currently flying Su-30s, and she's taken part in several war games and such. So I do think that if you were someone that were to want to join the armed forces, she is someone that I would say would inspire you. So
Do you think you've answered everything?
I think I've missed something out, so but I'm not quite sure.
That's nice of you. That's being honest. I'm very keen to know as to what are the things that make you feel happy, what you like doing. You mentioned a little bit about music, but I thought you were more talking to me as a problem when you have that irritants, to stress buster. That's what you were telling me about.
Yes.
But just tell me that's not what I wanted. That's a sob thing that you're looking. I'm looking for happiness.
Okay, sir. So
So I don't think so. Have you told me anything about it?
no,
And I said things that make you happy, and then I said, tell me about things that, as a collective, what all have we done socially? There are some very important things that you've gone through, which I can see. Some I'm sure you would like to highlight, otherwise you won't have mentioned it, or you just want to pass through it because you just passed through it.
yes,
All right?
yes.
All right, okay. Give it a try.
So what I really do enjoy is when I'm performing activities that make me think, that help me bring out a more creative side rather than doing something just mundane. So as I mentioned, music is one of those things that help me sort of separate my work and my separate my work from my pleasure time. So when I write music, it's a long time of just being with myself and trying to understand my thoughts and put it down into words and create something nice. And I always feel quite happy when I'm able to write a proper song or get a proper tune out of it. Aside from that, as I've taken mechanical engineering, the reason as to why I've taken that is because I really do enjoy working in a more physical sense. So in mechanical engineering, as mentioned, I've also been a part of Boeing as a research student. So in that area, we were able to work on an aircraft wing, and that whole experience helped me learn a lot more. And I'm someone that when there's a challenge, I don't like to turn it down. I like to see what I can gain from it, what I can learn from it, how I can get better from it. So that was an experience where I was able to do that. And right now, I'm also working on other projects in college, which pertain to the aviation side of things. And it's helping me be able to think a lot more. So aside from that, one of my everyday activities I say would be Sudoku. And although that's something small, it just helps me be able to sit and focus on that one thing. And it gives me joy to be able to complete a very hard puzzle at the end of the day, sir.
Fine. I thought you will tell me a little bit more about baking and music. You indulge in what Carnatic music.
So it was more Western music and church, sir.
That's what I can see. So what you're doing is the influence of church. You're part of the choir, so you can sing. So you can piano and the guitar, but and the organ. I wish you had put that also, because these are incidental over there. So these are things which have been thrust into you already. You're privileged.
Yes, sir.
The passion for it is guitar. Step, okay. You said okay, you like Western. Western what? Western contemporary, jazz, bluegrass,
It's
or church?
a lot of rock music, sir.
Sorry?
A rock music, sir.
Rock music. The guitar really is a rock music instrument, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's very nice. And you're looking at a guitar which has how many? Six strings, or four strings, or
So
maybe
it's
a
a
five string, or maybe 12 strings, or what else do I know? 12 and 6, 18 strings. Does this make sense?
yes, sir.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
So these are all what? These are all into rock, is it?
So they're all used for different purposes, but for me, I've been mainly exposed to the acoustic six-string guitar, sir.
Okay. And the basic contemporary six-string acoustic, right?
Yes, sir.
Fine, that's okay. And you would like to confine that to your Western,
Yes, sir.
not much of rock you can build out with an acoustic guitar, can you?
No, sir. I do
Right, fine, that's
listen.
okay. Fine,
Yes, sir.
let's go on ahead. You talked about basketball, isn't it? And you've played basketball to quite an extent. That's what I can say. I can appreciate that. To ask you a three-pointer is very easy. You're already smiling. But if I asked you, there is a rule called 3-second rule,
Yes, sir.
isn't it?
Yes, sir.
The question is not what is 3 second. Why is it 3 second rule? Why not a 2 second rule, or a 4 second rule, or a 5 second rule?
So I don't quite know that, sir.
Right, okay, fine. That's good enough. Okay, let's go on ahead to your passion to join the Air Force. Sure about it?
Yes, sir.
First question. Why is it that you would like to join the Air Force? and not the army or the navy, because both of them, all three of them, have equal hands into aviation. Let me tell you that you probably don't know about it. The army has got more helicopters than the Air Force has. Right?
Yes,
Fine.
sir.
So that's having said that. What my point is, why the Air Force only? Okay, that's one. Second thing is, you come from a civil background, like I said. At what stage in life did you get that spark that I'd like to join the, say, defense services as an officer, or for that matter, that I'd like to join the Air Force? Why defense services? All right.
Yes.
I'd also like you to tell me, since you've selected the Air Force, if you can just tell me a gamut of, what fascinates you the Indian Air Force? What are the aspects of the Air Force which comes to your mind in whichever priority? What really fascinates you? Fine.
Yes, sir.
In that fascination, tell me which part of the uh, Air Force do you find yourself that Ria will probably make a good officer over there, and the Air Force will also benefit, she'll also benefit. Got
Yes, sir.
it? I've gone to the extent of telling all this so that we are very clear about it. We don't talk about anything more than that is required.
Yes,
Fine.
sir.
First thing, why the Air Force?
Yes, sir. So I'm not opposed to joining the Navy or the Army as well. I'm aware that they all have their aviation wings as well. But for me, I do enjoy aviation as a subject as well. And when I think about aviation and the defense, the first thing that comes to mind is the Indian Air Force. When I was in 2015, that was when I first went for my first aero show, and that's when I got a first glimpse of all the fighter jets and the Indian Air Force and all that. I experienced, I how would I say, I told my mother about this admiration for these planes and the armed forces, and she, being a daughter of an officer from the signals, she told me to join the NCC. So during that time, I was able to join the NCC for 2 years, where I took part in the Talseni camp, and that
This I
camp,
didn't know.
yes, sir.
Suddenly came as an afterthought that I was in the NCC. Was it the Air Force Air Wing?
No, sir, Army wing, sir.
Fine, that's okay. But I was waiting for it. Fine, okay.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
So I was in the army wing of the NCC, and I went for my Talseni camp. So during those 4 5 months, I was able to experience a different life altogether, and I felt like talking to the officers there, talking to the other cadets, and experiencing that firsthand gave me a small glimpse of how the defense lifestyle could be for me, and that's something that inspired me as well. So ever since then, that inspiration has just grown over time, and I feel like with my personality and with how I think about the armed forces, I do feel like I would resonate very well with the armed forces, or especially the Indian Air Force. And I do have a lot of admiration and reverence for how the officers hold their uniforms and how they talk about how they've earned their uniform, their experiences as well. And I know, at least from the little knowledge that I have from talking to other people, I know that the Air Force, not just the Air Force, but the armed forces pose a lot of challenges. And I'm someone, as mentioned, I don't hesitate to take up a challenge. And as I mentioned, I do feel that I would be a good fit for the Indian Air Force, sir. More specifically, in the Indian Air Force, I would like to join the flying wing, more specifically the fighter jets. The reason as to why I want to join the fighter jets is because I've read a book recently, and I've seen a lot of movies and a lot of these videos of former pilots, and they talk about the challenges that they face in the sky, how they make these quick decisions, how they're supposed to think on spot, and how everything's an uncertainty there, but they have to make the right decision. And I do enjoy that thrill, I would say, and I would be a good fit for that, sir. I do think that I could contribute a lot by being a fighter pilot, as I do know that I have that intuition within me, sir.
Okay, yeah. In your you told me as to what fascinates you. You also given me an inkling of you'd like to actually fly.
I'm sorry, sir.
So you'd like to fly,
Yes,
isn't
sir.
it? Okay. So when you fly in the Air Force, what are the choices that you have?
So we have transport aircrafts, the fighters, and the helicopters, sir.
Which rotary wing is where you
Yes,
could
sir.
also fit in, right? Good to know that you've chosen to be a fighter pilot. So, which would be your chosen aircraft and why?
So I would say the Rafale. That's mostly because, as mentioned in 2015, when I'd gone for the aero show, I had the opportunity to be able to sit in one of the display aircrafts, which was a Rafale. So it's more of an emotional want to be able to fly a Rafale, sir.
Yeah, but did you know the that Rafale that you sat in uh, didn't have automatic windows going up? It's almost like buying a car where the automatic your side windows you have to go and roll down, etc., and then you have to roll it up and roll it down. Did you know it is of that caliber or that category?
No, sir.
You didn't know. Okay, it
So
looked good.
another thing that did motivate me is that I know that there are, I think, around one or two female pilots as of now that fly a Rafale in the Indian Air Force. I got that from the internet, so I'm not quite sure how far that's true because there's not a lot of information on that. But I'm hoping to be one of the first as well, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think you know how many Rafales are there in the country as yet.
So I think 36 as of now, sir.
Very few,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And let's talk about those which are real stock. So, tell me some fighter aircrafts which more realistic that the Indian Air Force has.
So we have the Sukhois. I think,
I mean, let's say you're talking about fighters, isn't it?
yes, sir.
All right.
So when coming to fighters, we have the Sukhois, which is a Russian-made aircraft.
Now I know the Sukhoi, so Sukhois. Shall we
Okay,
go
so
ahead?
we have the Tejas Mark 1, and now we're getting the Mark 2 as well. We have the Mirage 2000, the MiG 29s. We have the Jaguars. Um, we also have the MiG 25s, sir. Those are a few that I can name right now, sir.
You left out MiG-21.
Yes. So I thought I read something that
It
they
doesn't
were.
matter. You had quite a few.
Yes, sir.
Tell me some. Suppose for some reason you don't make it into fighters, you have to go into the other streams. Some aircraft from the other streams.
So in the transport aircrafts, we have the C-17, the C-130J, the C-295, which is the most recent, the IL-76, Antonov 32, and Dornier, sir.
Have you seen compared these Sukhoi aircraft or the Rafale vis-a-vis the Tejas?
In terms of size, I have, sir.
You did.
Yeah, sir.
Right. Okay. And was there a difference?
The Sukhois were quite large compared to the Tejas.
Yeah. So some capabilities would be limited,
Yeah,
isn't
sir.
it? So still we want to make more of it, is it?
Yeah, sir.
We're already into what, fourth generation,
Yeah, sir.
and we're looking for a fifth generation.
Yeah, sir.
The Chinese have reached sixth generation, isn't it?
Yeah, sir.
Right, fine, okay, that's good enough. If I said that you got a passport,
Yeah, sir.
have you used it?
Yeah, sir.
Where did you go?
I've gone to Norway, London, Denmark, Thailand, and Singapore, sir.
Okay. Now, let me think. If you were stranded in a country, in a place called Shanghai, what currency would you like in your pocket?
So yen.
Okay, the yen, okay. And if you were in Tokyo,
Not too sure, sir.
right, okay. Good. Almost close phonetically. Fine, that's okay. It's been nice speaking to you, all right? And your interview is over. Thank you so much. You can go.
Thank you, sir.